Hello, everybody. Welcome in. Today is Saturday, September 18th, week 1.
We start with the defending champs in Eric versus Chris Colby, where the certified Flubber Boys looked to bounce back from a tough 2020, and Slick Rick's squad looked to stay dominant. The story of the day was Eric's team being just okay, as Lil Jonathan Taylor led Drew Yea's non-QBs. The rest of the squad said turn down for now, while Chris Colby's team came together from the window to the Darren Waller, and Kyler Murray ran around till the sweat dropped down his balls. Chris Colby 159, Eric 128.
Next, we travel to Comishville for a clash of titans between Tyler and Chris P, where female shepherds squared off against the Fantasy Reapers. Tyler, Marquez Calloway, lived up to his title as the elusive man, as he tricked us all. Mike Ashley Williams proved to be the true love interest, as Dr. Lee Ryan Fitzpatrick Tassoni proved to be a scholar, not a score. Unfortunately for Commander Shepard, this was a suicide mission from the start, as Tyler assumed direct control and had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 players score over 20 points, en route to the highest score in the league. Hey Corb, wanna hear what that sounds like?
Yeah, Fitz?
I will destroy you!
Tyler, 202, Chris, 141.
We now move to Adam versus Brandy, whose team, Digslit, and Back Again were giving us early 2020s nostalgia all day long. Samurai Dak and the Avatar Antonio Brown got things off to an early start on Thursday for Adam, but couldn't put up enough to cover his running back by committee looking like cat dog with no clear lead as he started James Robinson, Miles Gaskin, and Tevin Coleman? Huh? Brandy's team clenched their fists like Sam Darnold the Aardvark and fought back. When Kenyon and Kelsey said, "Keep the orange soda, baby, we're drinking a W," Adam turned towards the Camara and yelled, "Alvin!" Brandy beats Adam 183-148.
We move to the spookiest matchup of the week, where Mike Box and Chris Cloud are fully in pumpkin spice season. D. Boo Samuel surprised everybody with 189 yards and a touchdown, while his teammate, Raheem Monstert, was hunted and killed by a swarm of angry locals. Thanks to the disappearing men, Aaron Rodgers and Saquon Barkley, Mike Bones couldn't overcome the masshole's attack, as we saw that the Tyreek Hills have eyes, as well as the thighs needed to matriculate the ball down the field. Even though Ezekiel Elliott looked like the slow kind of zombie, the good Christian Kirk defeated the Zach Will Sinners. 134, 139.
Gotta watch where you're going.
Jared Goff.
Leave him alone, Colin.
You never learn, do you?
Taylor.
It's the starting lineup, Jared.
Trade me all your good players, you little bitch.
Don't worry. I'll go easy on you this time. Come on, Loosechester. See what you got. Come on, freak! Freak!
You're not tough. You're just a jerk. Colin, the jerk.
Hey, Jerk the Jerk. Yeah, that's pretty good.
Colin. Colin. Colin.
Taylor 201, Colin 169.
We finish with the battle of the co-hosts, where presumed starters Disgusting Edwards and Brandon Ayuk combined to give Fitzy 0.18 stinky doo-doo fantasy points. Not to be outdone, Corby rolled with Aaron Jonesing for a better quarterback, who posted his worst week ever probably, and then had Najee Mishansky Harris quit in the second half. In the end, this one came down to a last-minute trade for the team with less depth than a Season 3 episode of Black Mirror, and Fitzy squeaks out the win. 144. 144.
All right. Welcome back, everybody, to the second episode of the Why Do Boys Make podcast. I will be your host this week, Fitzy, and I'm joined today by my ever lovely co-host, Mike Corbett. Corby, how you doing?
Hi, thank you so much for having me. Glad to be back. Glad we got rave reviews from critics and regular human beings alike.
I really would like to thank you all for getting us trending on YouTube with 48 views as of the time of recording. Much more than I ever could have dreamed. So I'd like to thank you all. You are what make this podcast possible. Corby, we really got to come up with a name for our faithful listeners, but that can wait for another time, because I understand you have a few thoughts here on the draft night trade that went down between Taylor and Colin, in which Colin traded away Tyler Lockett, Jared Goff, and Boston Scott, quite a bit of assets there, and received back Mark Ingram, Cole Beasley, and Austin Eckler. Corby, please, your thoughts.
Now, okay, everyone give me your ear holes for just a second. I can rehash the usual sentiment. Taylor sucks at fantasy. He doesn't know what he's doing. And while in some cases Taylor has made some questionable decisions regarding draft strategy and trading, let's look at this from a different angle. Maybe Taylor isn't the problem here. Maybe it's the person who proposed the trade in the first place. This is the second year in a row Colin has proposed an unfair trade to Taylor and taken advantage of him at a moment of weakness and fear. Colin is, by all accounts, a very good fantasy player, and he will stop at nothing to be the best. Remember, this is the same guy who put himself at number 1 in the power rankings at the beginning of almost every season in this league. Come to think about it, what is it with Colin and numbers and, in the same vein, being the best? As many of you are aware, we are gamers, and Colin is no exception. In total, he's amassed 84,210 gamer score, more than anybody on my entire friends list. Out of the 180 games he has played on Xbox 360, can you guess what percentage of games he has had at least one achievement from? 98.4%. Mind you, this is the extent of the math that I am able to perform. But that's pretty high percentage if you ask me. He couldn't even let Yaris, one of the worst games to ever come out on Xbox Marketplace, leave his grasp without 10 gamer score. Colin's addiction got to the point in his life where he literally had to throw his Xbox off his deck and berate it with rocks. With that, Colin had been free from the ties that bind until 2013, the beginning of this league. Colin was the inaugural champion of Why Do Boys Play Games. From here, you can put the pattern together yourself. He loves being at the top of power rankings, furiously hopes to get the number 1 draft grade, and constantly consults the Yahoo Trade Analyzer to optimize his gain over the season. Come to think of it, the night the trade happened, Colin spent a lot of money on Tyler Lockett, and after his budget went down, he went absolutely ballistic. Quite frankly, I'm honestly not sure how he drafts auction every year, because all he wants is numbers to go up. It is my opinion he needed to redeem his Lockett spending with a trade that would make his projected points go up and help him become what he desires most, being the best. Who knows why he loves numbers going up and being at the top of the list of a fake football team? Maybe it's his ego? Maybe it's human nature to be number 1. Maybe, just maybe, he's an insider at Yahoo and wants to prove to a user base that their rankings and projections aren't completely useless. I mean, have you guys actually seen him at school or at his job? Whatever the case, I'd like to close with a quote from a movie I've never seen. Dread it, run from it, Theo still arrives.
What a breakdown. And I got to tell you, I think you might be onto something here. Colin messaged a league that we are in saying, just so you guys know, under player rankings on mobile, you can actually see people chatting. So it's a good time to go and look at unvaccinated players. As a test, I left a comment on Jordan Aiken's page saying, "Hey, Colin," and he found it. This man loves using the Yahoo platform more than anybody else in this league. You nailed it, Corby. Absolutely nailed it.
You know, I'm just asking the questions that people are afraid to ask.
My only comments on the trade were that I felt like I was watching 51st drafts in the sense that this lesson should have been learned before. And Colin was playing the questionable ethics of Adam Sandler in that movie. That was Adam Sandler, right? Who decided to date the girl with dementia or whatever.
That's right. I've never seen it, but I assume it's terrible.
You know what? This actually might be Jimmy Fallon. In any case, moving on to our next segment, and this is a recurring segment, first time that we are really excited to debut to all of you. Every week, Corby and I are going to be breaking down each fantasy matchup and picking the winner. Whoever picks the most correct by the end of the season is going to be paying the other person not $5, not $10, but $20.
Oh, baby.
At the same time, we will be competing against a coin because I'm dumb, Corby's dumb. Maybe the coin knows who will win in fantasy more than we do.
That's right. If the coin wins, Fitzy and I are going to donate $20 to a charity of our choices. You know what? We had agreed on $20. I'm going to throw this out the window, do an audible. I'm saying $100, Fitzy. What do you say?
Live on air, Corby. I can't say no.
Yeah. Do you hate charity?
You know what I love? Corby's money in my pocket. So okay. I will take this $100 bet, Corby.
Great.
Let's roll.
Love it. All right.
So we obviously are recording this after week 1, but we had talked about this prior, and we did place our bets and place our picks prior to week 1 starting. Let's do a quick recap of how things went. And let's start with the battle of the co-hosts, Fitzy v. Corby.
All I have to say is that fantasy is bullshit, and I hate fantasy. My running backs, Najee Harris, Aaron Jones, totaling for less than the points of Devin Singletary. Very reminiscent of when I owned CJ Anderson and Jeremy Hill. I just would like to say I want to give you props for your undying power and being able to drive and trade and set lineups at the same time.
So I have to say, I pulled over and said, "Alex, you have to drive now," 30 minutes prior to kickoff. We were on the highway. We stopped off at a rest stop. I got into the passenger seat and started going draft day style, calling up everybody, trying to accumulate somebody to start instead of Ramondre Stevenson. And thank goodness I did, because the 1257 trade approval by Tyler and trade acceptance by Chris Colby is really what propelled my team over the top. Chris, I wish you all the best with Rondell Moore. I hope he outscores Devin Singletary on the season. But in week 1, it got me the dub.
I'd also like to apologize to Cole Kmet for dropping you. I'm so sorry.
Next up on the list, we've got Adam, the fantasy powerhouse, versus Brandy. And Brandy got the win.
Yeah, so I ended up picking Adam here because I like his team more. I was wrong again. Brandy, I'll never bet against you again.
I don't have to say I'll never bet against you again. I will simply never bet against you because, Brandy, I think you might be in contention for the first 13-0 season since Corby pulled it off all those years ago.
And I also like to mention that the coin also picked Brandy, so I am the one who lost here.
That is correct. That is correct. And quick cleanup from the prior matchup, I did pick myself. Both the coin and Corby were on Corby. Moving on to the next matchup, we had Chris P, the multi-time champion, versus Cash. And getting this out of the way, we all picked Cash. Sorry to doubt you, Chris P, but we also were all correct, which did make us feel better about it. In this one, I think it's fair to say the better team won, but Corby made a good point here saying that both teams lose some good players. Fitzmagic went Fitztragic far too early in the season. And Jerry Jeudy going down is really going to hurt the squad going forward.
For the next one here, we've got Taylor v. Colin. We all picked Colin. We were all wrong. And I just like to say I'm glad I was wrong.
I am too. You know when you do something so dumb that it's smart? I'd like to officially take this time to apologize on air to Taylor for saying 51st drafts earlier. Because Taylor, you put up 200 points in week 1, and you basically say, I'm going to let my team do the talking. So somebody, and I shouldn't say somebody, a few people dubbed our first episode, quote unquote, a roast of Taylor. And that's not what it was intended to be. It just kind of how this 2020 season played out. I believe in 2022, we're going to be doing a recap talking about how we were all wrong about you. So cheers to Taylor for, like you said, poetic justice in week 1.
Yes, without a doubt.
Next up, we had defending champ Eric v. Chris Colby. Now both of the humans picked Chris. The coin decided they were going to roll with the champion.
All I have to say about this is, I don't know. I think it's a boring matchup. I don't care. All right, great.
Moving on to our last matchup, we had Mike Baconowitz playing against Chris Cloud. Now, in this one, Fitzy did pick Chris Cloud, and Corby and the coin both sided with young Box.
I do just want to say Mike picked Raheem Mostert, and I don't know what you expect. You get 2 snaps with Raheem Mostert every year. Sometimes they're 90 yards. Sometimes they're not.
RIP to Raheem Mostert, another year where he averages 10 yards per carry. I just wish he had a couple more.
So to recap the total standings, we've got Fitzy at 5-1, Corby at 2-4, and Coin at 2-4.
Moving on now to the fun part. Pick 'em for week 2. First matchup we're going to be breaking down here is Corby versus Eric. Corby, you want to start things off?
Yeah, I pick Corby because I like my team better than Eric's.
Fantastic analysis from Corby there. For my part, I also picked Corby, and it's not just because I'm like Colin and I believe in projections, but I believe that projections are directionally correct, and you got to look for the ones that are too low. Corby's still got Dan Arnold on the team. That's going to get upgraded. And Tyson Williams is projected for 8 points. That's ridiculous. Corby's going to smash this week, guaranteed.
Thank you. Next up, we've got Tyler versus Mike Baconowitz. Fitzy, why don't you lead it off?
Yeah, sure. So I'm going to go with a little bit of an underdog pick here because, yeah, when you look at the matchup screen, you see Tyler's big old Derrick Henry icon. It's the ultimate intimidator. You even see Mark Ingram looking scared at Tyler. He always shows up on the left of matchups because he's the commissioner. So he always looks like he's staring down the other team. It's super, super intimidating. But Mecole Hardman is in his starting lineup and projected for 11 points. And I just cannot believe that Mecole Hardman is going to put up 11. I can't believe, and you know I love Jalen Reagor, but I can't believe that he's going to put up over 11 points as well. I actually trust Mike's flex of Robbie Anderson and, I hate to say it, Saquon Barkley more than what Cash is putting out. So I'm going with Mike B on this one.
I have the same exact pick as you for the same exact reasons. We're in agreement. Mike B, take down the king.
Great.
Next up, we've got Chris P versus Brandy. And I'm going to pick Brandy. Brandy's team is way more solid than I thought it was. And Chris P is going to spend way too much money on Taylor Heineke. And yeah.
So you might be right about Fab, but Fab isn't going to win or lose in the week. Even that being said, I got to side with Brandy. It's okay to go with 2 tight ends as long as they're both good tight ends. And I know my co-host is staring at the team and thinking, what? No, oh, God, no offense. No, God, no. But I really hate Miles Sanders. He's the guy that's burned me too many times.
I hate him too.
I'll probably just be wrong about this, but I cannot pick the team that's got him on it. We're going to go with Brandy. Next on my list here is Taylor taking on Chris Cloud. And I'll start things off because my pick is Taylor emphatically. We all laughed. We all said, haha, look at the silly Taylor making the same mistakes again. And now the league has to deal with a pissed off Taylor. It doesn't matter who he starts. This team has 200 points written all over it. Sorry, Chris Cloud.
Taylor, second highest scoring team in the league so far. That trend continues. He's going to keep scoring a lot of points. I also picked Taylor. Next up, we've got Chris Colby versus Adam. I'm going to pick Adam because Adam's team is really good and Chris Colby's team fucking sucks.
finally, a big difference here, because I'm going to pick Chris Colby. Chris Colby's team has Kyler Murray on it, and Kyler Murray simply wins fantasy matchups, especially when Minnesota's pass D might be just as bad as the rest of Chris Colby's team. I like him at a close matchup here against the fantasy or daily fantasy king, Adam. I think he's going to be too busy with his 50 lineups. Final matchup of the week. It's me versus Colin. And I'll start things off here because I got to say it. My team might suck. It really might suck.
It does suck.
But I think that Trey Sermon might be sneaky good. So I'm rolling with myself. We're taking down Colin.
Yeah, I picked Colin because I'm mad about last week. No logic here. I'm just mad.
That is sound
the
logic.
hard-hitting analysis that our fans look for.
That's right. That's right. I couldn't have said it better myself, Corby. With matchups out of the way, that brings us to the mailbag. We're going to dive right into the comments where Mike, big fan, asks, who is your last chance guy this year? The person you keep crawling back to, but if he burns you again this year, that's it. And I'm going to kick it over to you first, Corby. Who's that for you?
Yeah, I've weighed this very, very difficultly because I've got that guy. It's fucking Zach Ertz, okay? And let me explain myself. For fucking
wait, hold on. He has another chance this year?
Dude, I can't fucking stop thinking about this stupid idiot. I don't even know why. Like 4 years ago, he was so good, and I can't let that go. And I put in like 4 waiver claims and canceled almost all of them. And it's waiver night tonight, and I don't know if I'm gonna do it or not. So I'm still weighing this. If I have to pick one, it's got to be him. And I might have already quit him already.
I hope
as an alternative, I would like to say Josh Gordon because of the news that came out this like 4 hours ago about him maybe coming back again, because I'm definitely going to pick him up.
If we've got an IR spot and he fits on it, why not? But yeah, I hope that this is not your last week guy or your last chance guy this year. I really hope for your sake that Zach Ertz this week is his last chance. I hope you have him. I hope you start him. If you start him, I reserve the right to switch my pick. But I'm still going to pick you for the week. So my last chance guy is Ezekiel Elliott. This guy might
make sense.
Stink. And you might be sitting there at home listening right now thinking, I thought I heard I thought I heard him say to Corby just like a week ago that he was his favorite first round pick. But you got to be like a good quarterback when it comes to takes. You throw a bad one out there, you got to forget about it. And this guy straight up stinks.
He sucks, dude. Next up from the mailbag, we've got Adam asking, how much do you guys predict Adam will win by? And I'm just wondering what that question even means. What are you winning, Adam? And who are you beating to win by what amount of what?
And I'll give you my interpretation of the question because I think it's a fair one. I think Adam was referring to his week 1 matchup at the time, but because we're recording this now, I'm gonna just tell you for week 2, my model says that Adam will win against Chris Colby by -7 points. So that's my answer. He will win by -7.
Fair enough.
Next question. Long-time fan, first-time commenter, Why Do Boys Play Games Studios asks, who made the best videos last year? I'll start things off by saying, I'm a big Netflix guy. And when I think about Netflix in the year 2020, nothing gripped our nation quite like Tiger King. So I'm going to say Tiger King made the best videos. Thank you for asking Why Do Boys Play Games.
My answer is Logan Paul. I think that guy transcends talent. I think he's great. To finish it off here, Adam asks another question. Thank you, Adam, for your involvement. I'm so excited to see you so interested. Would anyone like to make a bet?
And that brings us to our favorite segment of the week, Bets of the Week. All right, Corby. So I'm going to start things off this week. You heard me kind of backpedal a little bit on one of my picks for the year with Ezekiel Elliott, but I'm going to double down right now. I'm going to say that in week 2, Bryan Edwards has more receptions than Michael Pittman, wide receiver for the Colts.
That's a fun one. I like that. Both these guys, I don't like either of these guys. So you're saying Bryan Edwards?
I'm saying Bryan Edwards. And tell you what, if you prefer Zach Pascal, you can take him instead.
Oh, I don't want either of them. I also think Bryan Edwards is going to catch the most passes.
Fair enough. We will leave this one to the comment section. You know where to find me.
Next up, I've got a league bet. Taylor Heineke will go for 26.5 fab dollars. I'm going to take the over.
Oh, man. It only takes one person thinking that this is going to be the quarterback that saves their year. For the purposes of the show, though, I think that's a good number. I will barely lean to the under so we can get some action going here. I like that one, Corby.
Love that. Let me keep this train going here. I've got another league-based bet. I think that a trade is going to happen before Sunday. Any trade, anything.
Interesting. So we are looking for a trade prior to Sunday, 1 o'clock.
Let's say 1 o'clock, yeah.
This is recording on Tuesday night prior to waivers. Releasing Saturday once the bet has pretty much been decided. I'll tell you what, I actually agree with you. If we change to 1 p.m. on Saturday, I'll take the bet.
For the purposes of the show, I'll do it.
Hey,
okay. Before Saturday.
Trade before Saturday. Love
what
it.
Time Saturday? Like 11? Can you give me till midnight at least on Sunday?
Tell you what. I'll hedge it up to midnight. We'll say prior to Sunday trade gets done. I like that. All right, I've got another week 2 prop bet for you. I believe that Bryan Edwards, wide receiver for the Las Vegas Raiders, will have more receiving yards than Jarvis Landry this week.
So I'm going to say I'll take Landry for sure.
Lovely.
Yep.
And I've got one final prop bet here. A different receiver. I think, and this is a season long here, I want to throw out.
Oh, wow. We're 1 week in and we're making season long bets still.
I think it's a fair time. We can go rest of season. Let's go for a rest of season bet. Season starts today for this one. I believe that Jalen Waddle, wide receiver for the Miami Dolphins, will have fewer receiving touchdowns for the rest of the season than Bryan Edwards, wide receiver for the Las Vegas Raiders.
I also think that he will.
Damn it.
I think Bryan Edwards is actually I changed my mind. I want Waddle. I'll take Waddle.
Oh yeah.
I said the name Bryan Edwards and I thought there's no fucking way.
The man who didn't receive a target until like a minute left in the fourth quarter. I just kind of feel like Derek Carr forgot about him and remembered him. I think he discovered him in overtime.
We'll see about that.
We sure will. Now that we've got those down, let me do a quick recap for the bets from last week. Corby said that the most expensive QB will go for under $43.50 in the draft. Fitzy took the W on that one. And another draft-based bet, most quarterbacks drafted by a single team, Fitzy had the under on 4.5 and takes win number 2. We've got 3 other season-long bets, bringing us to 2-0 in favor of Fitzy on the year.
So far, so good, baby.
All right. On the way out here, we've got a winner to announce. Corby, the winner for the Pay Cash Before the Draft drawing to be the first guest on the Why Do Boys Make podcast.
I'm clicking the button right now as we speak. The fake wheel is going, and the winner is Brandy.
Brandy, live in studio.
Congratulations, Brandy. We are looking forward to speaking with you, and we will send you the bill for the exposure cost.
All right. This concludes episode 2 of the Why Do Boys Make podcast. Don't forget to smash that fucking like button. Hit the bell as well. I'm Fitzy.
And I'm Corby.
Gamers, game on.